Okay, I don't know if you have anything further under staff report, Steve?
The Planning Commission is going to be going out for public notice here very soon, a public hearing on vacation rental by owner. It's actually what you'll see is a public notice for redefinition of a dwelling within the county, which is pretty much the simplest way to say anybody can rent their home anywhere in the county by the night or by the weekend. In a lot of communities, in some communities they're allowing everybody to do it. In some communities they're not allowing anybody to do it, and other communities anywhere in between. So there's a huge variety of how communities treat vacation rentals, because it basically turns your house into an overnight commercial guest quarters that you can rent online. Significant profit can be made by these. If you purchase a house, some people are purchasing houses, early retirement locations, and they're going online and doing VRBO or Airbnb. If you've probably heard all about those websites, and making a significant amount of money and more than paying their mortgage, probably paying off the house before they retire, and they're able to move into a home that they already own. So that's just one scenario. Some people are doing it as a business. They're buying multiple houses. They have their own cabin maintenance companies. So
what are you saying, the planning commission at the county level is looking
So-
at to say if it should be done or not?
Well, they've already decided it should be, for the most part. I mean, they've chosen that direction at this point. They still have to amend the ordinance. The ordinance basically stated that a dwelling is for non-transient. That's been in the ordinance for a long, long time. And when I noticed that some of these, we get complaints every now and then, but not that often, and we were getting just a few more recently. So I brought it to the Planning Commission's attention just to make sure they knew, because as I started to go online, there were about close to 250 just on 2 websites that are already operating within the county. And essentially, there may be a few that were permitted, but most of them would not be allowed under current zoning. And there was a significant outcry and an interest in allowing it to happen throughout the county. We've heard a couple of public comments that were against this maneuver, but now, for the most part, everybody feels very strongly that it should be allowed in all homes. So just as an opportunity, because now if the public hearing goes through and they adopt it, it still has to go through public hearing at the Planning Commission level. It has to go through the county board for an approval. But if that does happen, and when it does, places like City of Frankfurt have made it part of their economic development plan. They've actually become promoters of this and made it so that everybody knows you can buy a home here and have some significant income. You can also come here and stay, and you can have a wide variety of places to stay. So that's one economic development tool if it all goes through.
Wouldn't that be up to each township or city, not the county?
Well, it's county zoning. 18 of the 19 townships are under county zoning. So that's why it would apply.
One of those few areas they can choose. Most of the county has chose to let the county do the planning and zoning. We have the cities, villages, and then we have one township that does their own.
What about
They
Mackinac City?
technically
Because
all
Mackinac
could.
City was having a
They do their own.
huge-
See,
they do their own. They were having a
and
big deal about that.
They're going to outlaw them completely.
Are
So,
they? Did they make that determination?
that's the direction it's going. Last I talked to the planner up there. So
That's the
it's
way it is right now in Cheboygan.
yeah, it's very different.
We're probably going to change it.
This was only I think the 3rd or 4th meeting at the Planning Commission where it was discussed, and it's pretty much ready for a public hearing. And Marquette has been talking about it for 2 years. They've had 20 public forums, and they're struggling with coming up with the right regulations for it.
The denser the
So-
population in cities and villages, the
Yeah.
more it's tougher. Or if they have a lot of industry base there, of course, in the village, there's 200 plus hotel rooms, so obviously it's a different setting that way. But you find a conversation that if you're in an urban area, they're usually more restrictive about it, and if it's more of a rural area or somewhere where they need it, like Frankfurt does not have a lot of hotel rooms, but they promote it. But it comes back to again a community decision of those lawmakers that have the power to do that.
Anything else, Steve?